Hello, thank you for watching this video. My name is Leslie Cornwell, and I am the Vice President of Scholar Services here at the George Snow Scholarship Fund. And what we're going to do today is talk about the Door of Opportunity Scholarship that is available to you. And we're going to talk about what you would receive, how the funds work. We're going to go over the application for a little bit. This is only the second year that Esler Companies has had this scholarship, and we administer the scholarship. And their mission and our mission is to provide funding to students who have limited means to make sure that they can continue their education beyond high school. So last year, in its very first year, 56 students were awarded a scholarship of $12,500. This year, Esler Company would like to have even more students apply and even more students receive the scholarship. The eligibility is that you must be a high school senior. You must attend high school in a qualifying district. And on our website, which will be part of this presentation, you will see the different districts, but I will mention the states that the districts are in: Arizona, Colorado, Connecticut, Massachusetts, Oklahoma, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, and Texas. You must have financial need. We are not tied to FAFSA whatsoever. You do not have to upload your FAFSA application. So if you're not receiving federal aid, that doesn't mean that you will not qualify for the scholarship. There are no test scores listed on the application anywhere, and there is no minimum GPA requirement. And that is all the eligibility. So why should you apply? Well, our scholarships are for 4 years. We are with you throughout your entire undergraduate course of study. These scholarships can also go towards vocational schools. So if your program that you are in is not 4 years, that's absolutely fine and not a reason not to submit your application. If you are in a typical 4-year program, then the scholarship is designed to stay with you throughout your education. All majors and area of study are accepted. If you are undecided, that's fine. That's kind of a normal thing for a high school senior at this point, and that's not a reason to not receive the scholarship. And all accredited schools are accepted. So if the school that you want to go to is out of state, that's not a problem. As long as it's accredited, you can attend an in-state, out-of-state, college, university, or vocational school. Those are all fine. The application is mobile friendly. You can do it on your phone or on a computer. The only thing that we ask is that you, when you're signing up for the account, that you use an email address that you check frequently, because all of our notifications are only going to be sent out through an email. I'm not going to text anybody. I'm not going to call anybody. So you'll miss the reminders. You'll also miss, more importantly, if you receive an interview, you'll miss that notification. And then even more importantly, you would receive a notification if you're getting the scholarship by email. And if you're not checking, you're going to miss that as well. So please make sure that you are checking the email address that you put in. You can complete this application at your own pace. When you go into the application, you do have the opportunity. You can see that circled yellow item on the slide that says view all steps. You can click that and see all the different steps in the application, but that shouldn't be any reason for you to freak out, because some of those steps are one question long. And also, you're not necessarily going to be answering every question on the application because of the logic of the application. You know, some questions your answer determines if you have to answer additionally. So don't let that be a reason for you not to complete this application. You can always save it and come back later. You should definitely not do this application in one sitting, trying to complete it quickly. It does not make a difference in your selection if you are the first one to submit the application. None of the applications are going to be going on to the selection committee until after the application closes. So there's no benefit to you being the first one to submit. Don't wait until the last minute, but definitely take your time with this application. So I want to explain a little bit before we go into parts of the application, how the process works. So the application opened up on November 1st. The application will close February 1st of 2022. And you don't want to be in your application at the last minute. It's going to close at whatever 11:59 p.m. is in your time zone. If you're in your application and it's 11:55 and you just start working on it and you think you're okay because you're in your application and you don't submit by the deadline, then you're going to have a problem, because at 11:59, the server is going to stop, close down, shut down the application, and you will not be able to submit your application. It will not matter the reason why you did not submit. It will not be accepted beyond that time. So please make sure that you get your application in on time. And the process that we have is that after the application closes, we will have 80 community members in all of the different districts that students can apply from and qualify from, and they make up the selection committee, and they are going to read and score your applications numerous times. The lowest score will be dropped, and the average of your remaining application scores is what is your application score. And that is what determines whether or not you make it to the next round, which is an interview round. You cannot receive the scholarship if you have not first received an interview. So this application is crucial. And what we tell students is that you want to give the best picture of yourself to these selection committee members. You can't assume that they know anything about you. You can't assume if you were doing an activity or something and then it stopped because of COVID that they're going to know that's why it stopped. You want to take this opportunity to tell them as much information about yourself so that they can see the kind of person that you are, your character, your motivations, your goals. Remember, they're trying to determine if you are a good investment. This is a lot of money that they award to students, and they want to make sure that the student is planning on going to some type of schooling next year after high school, that they're motivated to succeed, that they have a plan that is realistic. And all of this is up to you to put into the application. And you also want to put it in the application in the best way possible. So you need to treat this like a college application. Certainly, I hope you're not filling out a college application and writing it like most students text, where everything's a lowercase letter and shortened words for spelling. That should not have any place on any kind of application, and certainly not this one. You want to make sure that for your essays, that they are well written. For any time that you are filling out something in the application, that it has proper punctuation. If you're writing the word I, make sure it's a capital I, make sure your name has proper capitalization. It's just these small things, you know, they all add up, and you want to make sure that you are giving the impression that, you know, this application is very important, because to receive the scholarship would be very important. So once you sign in and you create your account, you'll have your beginning information, personal information, and some information about your high school, GPA, things like that. Then we have this page where it's colleges and majors. And there are 3 college places where you can list 3 colleges, but only one is required. If you are applying to more than one college, then you should list them all on the application, as long as it's not more than 3. I know that there are students who apply to 10 schools. List your top 3. I'm not going to hold you to these schools. It's not the school that you're writing in that's important. You're not getting judged based on what school you're going to. It's the fact that you are showing them that you are going to school. So in that vein, I want to point your attention to these radial buttons where it says accepted, submitted, wait list, not applied yet. Do not put in an application where the colleges that you're listing you haven't applied yet. Why? Well, think of it this way. Again, they're trying to see if you are a good investment in going to school next year. And if your application shows that you haven't even applied to any schools yet, that's definitely going to affect your score. You know, they don't know you. They don't have any knowledge of whether or not you will be going to college, because you haven't told them that you've applied to any college, and you're competing against students who have shown that they have applied to college. So that won't help you. So don't do that. Wait until you have at least applied to a college to do the application. And at this point, you should be applying to schools. Anticipated major or area of study at the bottom, you can list more than one if there's more than one that you are planning on or considering. And again, like I said, undecided is an option as well. Now, I will tell you there are 2 essays in this application. That should never be a reason for you not to submit a scholarship application. I mean, if somebody said that you had the opportunity to receive, you know, possibly $12,500 so that you can attend college, but you have to write 2 essays, I think that that's something that should not keep you from applying. The first essay is an educational and career goal essay. So the selection committee wants to know, what are you planning on studying in school? What do you think that you're going to do when you get out of school? The minimum is only 200 words, which is not a lot at all. So, you know, you can definitely write more because there is no maximum. If you have written an essay like this for like a college application, that's fine to copy and paste. The main thing here is that you want to make sure that somebody has read this essay. They're not asking you to be a world-class author, but again, if you submit an essay and you know, a paragraph is just one long sentence, or there's not proper punctuation, grammar, misspelled words when there's spell check available to you. It's those kind of things. You know, maybe 1 or 2 errors aren't going to matter, but if the whole essay is full of them, then that kind of takes their attention more than the substance of what you're saying. So keep that in mind. And it's always a great idea to have somebody read over your work before you submit it. So then you're going to come to a page where it's going to have work experience, school activities, community service, and awards and honors. Depending on how you answer this question, once you hit next step at the bottom of the page, that will lead you or not to that section. So if you said you don't want to add any work experience, then you're going to skip that step. It's not going to bring you to a page to add work experience. If you say yes, then you will be able to list up to 2 recent work experiences. Now, remember, this is not required. But if they do apply to you, then you want to put those in. The next question is, would you like to add any school activities? Now, on this question, if you answer no, then you're going to get a prompt that says, why not? And that's really to protect you because, again, these selection committee members don't know you, don't know what you're going through, what your life is like. Maybe you are not involved in school activities because that's not your thing, and that's absolutely fine. Maybe you have to go home and take care of a sibling because you're a caregiver. Maybe you don't have a car, so you have to get home when you can get home right after school ends. There could be a million reasons, but we just thought it might be a good idea for you to be able to explain why, so that the selection committee members will have that opportunity to understand. If you do want to add school activities, then you will be led to another page where you'll be able to add up to 10. It'll ask for the activity, the year that you did it. So was it freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, all of them? The role that you had, the position. So did you have a leadership role? Were you a member? And then a brief description. Again, remember, if you were involved in something that was cut short because of COVID, don't just mark freshman and sophomore year and then not, you know, explain why you weren't able to do this in other years. Community service is the exact same thing. You can add up to 10, and these are up to over the last 4 years. The school activities, community service, and awards and honors are over your time in high school, the entire 4 years. Awards and honors, that is not solely school related. That can be anything that you have received recognition for over the last 4 years. If you have any kind of certifications that you've received in your school, you definitely want to include those here. If you've been nominated for something in your senior year and you're not going to know yet if you've won it, go ahead and put the nomination in. Like, these are the places that you definitely want to be bragging about yourself and thinking outside the box and putting as much information in as you can. This is the second essay and the reference letters. So the second essay is definitely one of those prompts that you were probably asked on a college application. Describe a special attribute, accomplishment, a challenge, an experience where you learned a valuable lesson, or something in your background that will help the selection committee get to know you better. You do not want to copy and paste the first essay here. You are definitely going to have some points taken off. A, because you're not following instructions. That's not what they're asking. And B, because you did this obviously because you didn't want to write a second essay, which is not going to go over well. Again, it's the same type of 200-word minimum. No maximum, the same rules that you should be watching about spelling, grammar, punctuation, but you really want to have something here where you are able for the selection committee to really get to know you a little bit better in this essay. Now, letters of recommendation, 2 reference letters are required. One of them has to be from an educator. So one of these letters has to be from a teacher. The second one can be from someone in the community. You can have 2 letters that are from a teacher. That's fine. A teacher, guidance counselor, a boss. The second letter can be a boss, somebody in the community. And you have 2 options of how you can get these letters into your application. So the first one you can see here, upload PDF. You've gone to the person, you've asked them to write this letter, they give you the letter back, and you upload it into your application before you submit it. The second option will say, it's a drop-down menu here, and it'll say Kaleidoscope Recommender. And what that means is when you click on that, and then you go to the bottom and you hit next step, the next page is going to be for you to add your recommenders. Now, you will have to have their name and their email address. And then it has a little place for you to put a message. That's up to you. You can say, please write me a letter of reference. You could say, what it's for so that they address it, appropriately. And then they are sent the link. They will upload it into your application. There's nothing you need to do. You will not have access to that letter because they did not want you to read it. You can always contact our office and we can verify that that letter has been uploaded into your application before the closing date. Now, you could have up to 3 reference letters. Only 2 are required, but if you have a third person that you really want to put in, then you can upload or have them, the recommender link go to them for that third reference letter. So since the only eligibility is that you have to have financial need, there have to be financial questions, or else how would we know what your financial need really is? So in the financial section, you will have a question on father, mother, and then step parent or guardian, if that applies. If you do not have a relationship with your father or your mother, then you will mark that box. Most of that information you will not need to provide for them. I won't need to know their address and their employer and that kind of thing. If you do have a relationship with them, then obviously you're going to have to fill in that information. There will be questions on dependents. How many other family members are relying on your parents or parent for financial assistance? They don't have to be living at home. You could have a sibling that's already in college, but if they are relying on one of your parents for financial assistance, then you would need to put them in. And we do that because, maybe their parents' income is a little bit higher than someone else, but we like looking at the totality of the applications. So maybe there's a reason, they have more than one child in college, they're supporting more people. That just gives us more information to go off of. But then there's going to be financial sections that you are not going to be able to know. And this is why you do not wait until the last minute. I need to know if your parents own their house, if they rent their house, if they own it, what is their mortgage? If they rent it, how much do they pay in rent? What are their assets? What are their debts? You aren't going to know this stuff. They are going to have to give it to you. And if you don't have parents, if you're not living with your parents, that's not a reason not to submit. You need to contact me at my office and I will tell you how you fill out the application. And then after that financial information, we have about 4 questions that are right off of a tax return. So again, if you've waited till the last minute and then you say, oh, wow, I have to have these answers from the tax return, but they don't have the tax return on them, then you have a problem. So if you have any questions, if you see the question, but you're not sure where to find that on the tax return, again, contact us and we will be happy to help you with that. That is not a reason for you not to submit your application. If something doesn't apply and it's a numerical question, then you would put 0. If it doesn't apply and it's not a numerical question, then you could put NA for not applicable. Again, we do not need you to upload a tax return. I don't need you to upload a FAFSA. That's not what we're looking for in this application. So the timeline is, like I said, the application opened November 1st and it will be closing at February 21st. The interview dates are tentative. They will be virtual because we would have interview members in many different states, but right now they are tentative for May 3rd and May 4th. We will email the interview notifications in March, and then you will receive notification if you're receiving the scholarship on May 16th. And then in the fall, off to college, or maybe even in the summer. And then you are part of the Essler family and the George Snow family for the remainder. You know, we are always here to support you. We are always available with any phone calls or questions or problems. That's what we're here for. So I want to give you one little tip about FAFSA. I don't know if you've submitted. I certainly hope you have submitted your FAFSA by now, but if not, you need to do it as soon as you're done listening to this presentation. Submitting the FAFSA is what determines your financial need. So you fill out the application for FAFSA, it's free. You put in the schools that you're considering, and then those schools get that information on your parents' finances. And without the FAFSA, you may be losing out on thousands of dollars because you may qualify for a federal Pell Grant, which is over $6,000 a year if you're going full time. And not only that, but you may qualify for institutional aid from your school that they're not going to give you without a FAFSA being on record. So you need to make sure that you do that as soon as possible. Also, if you look at this slide, you'll see highlighted in yellow at the top, it says EFC, which stands for Estimated Family Contribution. This is a number, doesn't apply to you, and then an asterisk. The problem with that asterisk means that you have been selected for verification. In a small percentage of cases, you're in verification because you've made a mistake in the application somewhere. A lot of the time, students get randomly selected for verification, and it's not fair. It's not based on anything. But if you do not clear up the verification status, then your FAFSA application has not been fully submitted. You're really kind of in a holding pattern. And so by the time we have interviews with you in May, you would have sent us paperwork before that in April. And if we see that you're still in verification and we say, like, you need to contact your school and you need to get, you know, this verification fixed, by that time, there's a good chance that the school may have run out of money for scholarship aid. So not FAFSA, I mean, not federal aid. Like federal aid, they're not going to run out of those funds. But the school aid is not guaranteed, and it is definitely first come, first serve. So you want to make sure that this FAFSA application is in as soon as possible so that you have as much available dollars available to you as possible. And this is our contact information. Again, I am Leslie Cornwell, and also in my office is Shannon Elwood, and I would take a screenshot of this. These are our email addresses, and this is our phone number. We are in South Florida, so there may be a time difference. So keep that in mind because our office is closed at 5 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, but you can always reach us by email. And I cannot stress enough how important it is for you to do this application because school is expensive, and it's wonderful to receive the funds so that your dreams can come true. And it's also wonderful to have supportive systems with you in place, because it's going to be a huge transition for you when you start school. And that's what we do, and that's what ESSER companies do. And so we hope that you apply. Again, remember, if you have any questions at all, then please reach out to us and we'll be happy to answer them. And good luck.